Okay, it's good to be back. Sorry for the absence. I know it's been a while since my last video, but a few things have happened. As you probably know, unless you've been living under a rock recently, you probably know that the world is in the middle of a global pandemic, and yeah, no one even knows what the world will look like in a couple of months, which is obviously a very scary position to be in. But to be honest, I felt like I was handling this whole corona situation pretty alright in the beginning, because I'm a pretty independent person and I have a lot of projects that I manage on my own. So in the beginning I felt like I had stuff to do anyway. But a couple of weeks into the lockdown, I ended up breaking my arm. Not a complicated fracture, I'm told, but I still had to wear this cast for 6 weeks. Yeah, that really put me in a pretty dark place, to be honest, because all of a sudden I couldn't play music, I couldn't work with a computer or do anything remotely productive, actually. So I was kind of forced to just sit on my own and ponder about the situation. So not a good place for me to be at all, and I ended up getting a little bit depressed, I think. And I wasn't in a good spot for making videos or content, so I decided to just take a step back and take a break from social media altogether. I'm scheduled to remove the cast in about a week, and it'll probably be several weeks after that before I can really play music again. But at least I can see some kind of light in the end of the tunnel now, and I feel a lot more optimistic about my life in general. So I feel like I'm ready to start making videos and content again. I thought I'd kick things off with something that addresses the current situation, because something I feel is truly unique about this whole mess is that it affects people everywhere, and it affects musicians all over the world. So I thought it would be interesting to reach out to some of my friends and colleagues in the music industry and ask them how they're dealing with this whole thing, both practically but also mentally. Now, I deliberately chose to reach out to people all over the world, in different continents and different countries, just to get a sort of global perspective on this. And I'm really grateful that they took the time to make these short messages and share their experiences with us. So yeah, without further ado, let's first go to Scotland.
I'm Lauren McCall. I'm a traditional fiddle player from the Highlands of Scotland, and I'm outside my home at the moment, just south of Inverness. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected us all in so many ways, and I feel so much more fortunate than many at this time, but I'm still sad to be missing gigs, missing playing with other musicians and having those lovely interactions with audiences. I'm really enjoying my online lessons with all my students at the moment. It's a great way to connect, and just being patient and seeing what the coming weeks and months will bring. If this time has taught me anything, it's that patience, to be slow, to take the time, to be outside, to enjoy nature. And hopefully something will come of this time creatively, but I think it's more really about looking after each other and yeah, just biding your time. The gigs will come around, so stay safe, folks.
Hello, my name is Patrick Ahlberg, Patrik Ahlberg, and I am from Sweden originally, but I've been living in Chicago since about 2013. And I'm a folk musician. I play guitar and I play violin. But right now I'm mostly sitting at home and like playing video games and playing guitar, as it were. And I've been sort of hit with the lockdown like everybody else, and it's been tough. It's been tough, like mirroring your creativity in the sort of stasis of the outside world, or rather maybe not being able to mirror your own creative process in like some sort of flow. So yeah, it's been a lot of sort of renegotiating about practice for me. Like, why do I practice? I've started to play a lot more stuff that I want to play rather than I feel like I ought to. So, I've been working on sort of passion projects a lot more, which has been fun. And maybe like if I have to find like a silver lining in all of this, I'm hoping that it's going to give people time to reset, honestly. Like I feel myself, I've been so caught up in the flow and a trajectory that I set many years ago, and maybe it's time to reevaluate a little bit. It's been good. And weirdly enough, I feel like I've been in touch with people a lot more since the lockdown. So definitely looking forward to having a pint with my friends again, going to that occasional show, making some music with some people, but just mostly trying to hang in there. So if that's you, don't feel the pressure. I felt a lot of pressure sort of creating a lot of music at first. Let it come to you when you're ready. So those are my 10 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent about the coronavirus BS.
Hello Andes and to the viewers. My name is Falik Auri and I'm a multi-woodwind artist from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I play the uilleann pipes, I play the flute, I play saxophone, recorder and clarinet. Clarinet is my newest addition to the family. I perform regularly in weddings, in corporate events. Wedding and corporate events are pretty big scene here. And I teach and I also do online collaboration as well. The current situation has affected me so much as an artist. I have lots of gigs in my schedule before, and 99% of it was cancelled and postponed to a later date, that which I don't know if it's confirmed to happen again or not. All of my performing income has been gone away just like that. I'm so lucky that I have a teaching skill. I am able to run online lessons and workshop, so I'm able to do it at home, and I'm so grateful that at least the music still go on despite we're not able to performing and doing gigs outside. Other than that will be, just practicing and learn a few new songs, learn a few new techniques. I just found out that I'm good at making a cheese wrap. Other than that will be, learning new skills like editing, drawing, cooking. So all those stuff that I was unable to do, I'm able to do now. And also I'm taking care of my 2 young daughters at home. Sometimes it's hard whenever you want to play or you want to rehearse, and then they come and disturb you and then play the instrument. But it's fun though. You are able to spend the time with your loved ones. The first thing is that this situation has taught me to reach out to each other. Before this, I was so busy with my life. Not only performing, I go and teach and taking care of my family. I am too serious and too focused on myself. Sometimes I don't have time to listen to others. It's not that I don't want to listen to others. It's just that, when you got into work, you're only focused on yourself. During this COVID-19, I have a lot of time. By viewing the Instagram, I'm able to see my friends uploading lots of great musical content, collaboration. So COVID-19 has changed my life in any way. To become a better person, a better listener, to become more care about other people that's less fortunate than me. There are people who don't have privileges, like going online or even eat decent food on the table. So at least I feel grateful to earn and to have these privileges. It has taught me that if I think that I am the only one have problem or I am having a hard time, there are lots of people other than me that are having worse problem than mine. That's why, as I have mentioned before, it has taught me to reach to other people, to help each other, to support each other. Because during this hard time, togetherness is what we need as human. Also, the situation has improved my musicianship, in terms of making a great content for my YouTube, or practice new songs, or get back to classical music, which I have learned during my study days. And I can feel that my music has improved better than before because I have a lot of time spending on it. So I hope that when this situation has passed, we as a musicians will still continue this good vibes on each other. We should keep support each other, and we should keep help out, reach out to each other, and just say hi, and then appreciate our followers, appreciate our fans, and be positive. Always be nice to other people, and then do a lot of collaborations, because collaboration connects you. You will learn about each other. It's a harmony way. It's like meeting a new friends, making a friends, and then good vibes, and then you produce something good. So I hope once the world becomes normal again, we will able to continue those good things that we did during the pandemic.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephen Carolyn. I'm originally from Ireland, but I now live on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. I'm a former two-time World Irish Dance Champion and traditionally what's known as a feis musician. A feis is the Irish word for Irish dance competition, and my job is to sit and play music all day long for the dancers who compete on stage. I've been very fortunate to have this job for the last 10 years or so, and it has taken me to every corner of the globe. The current global situation with COVID-19 has had a huge impact on my musical career. I was due to play maybe 35 or 36 weekends out of 2020 in lots of different locations worldwide, but sadly all of them have been either cancelled or postponed for the foreseeable future. One of the biggest events I was due to play at this year was the 50th anniversary World Irish Dance Championships in Dublin in Ireland. I had a trip planned to go home a couple of weeks before the event and visit some family and play some local gigs, but unfortunately I've had to cancel my trip because the event has been cancelled for 2020. We don't know when we can travel again, so we just have to get through this as best we can. The restrictions here in Australia are not just international, they're also domestic, and lots of the events that I will play with in Australia require me to fly from the Gold Coast or Brisbane to different states in the country. So along with the World Irish Dance Championships, every other event has been cancelled in Australia for the foreseeable future. So it's really had a huge impact on my schedule for this year. I'm also an Irish dance teacher as well as a musician, and I've just recently opened up a new dance school with my wife called the Carolyn Academy of Irish Dance and Music. So although we can't teach any lessons in a studio, we have been conducting some lessons online via Skype and Zoom, which has been totally new to us, and we never ever considered teaching a dance lesson through a laptop screen before, but it's going really well so far, and it's certainly keeping us connected with our students and their families. This global pandemic has changed me in many, many ways. The first way I would say that it has changed me is that don't take what you have for granted. And by that I mean sometimes when I play at a feis or an Irish dance competition and it's a really, really long day, I could have been playing from maybe 8 a.m. in the morning till 10 or 11 p.m. at night, and sometimes that can be really, really tiring, particularly towards the end of the day. It's just kind of taught me that when you're having one of those really tired moments at one of these gigs, that you should still be grateful and thankful for the opportunity that has presented itself. Another way that it has changed me is that usually I'm a little bit relaxed and laid back with putting some content out online, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. And it's really encouraged me to do more collaborations with different musicians from all over the world, and it's certainly a way that helps us stay connected in these tough times. Believe it or not, this pandemic has had a very positive impact on my music overall, and I know that may be hard to believe because some people might say, how can your music improve when you're just sitting in the house all day? But what it does is force you to break out of your comfort zone. So for example, when I play the accordion, sometimes I get a little bit nervous playing the bass side, and it's really allowed me to develop that a lot more than what I normally would play at an event. Another positive impact that this pandemic has had has allowed me to come up with some brand new compositions. Sometimes, you know, when I'm on the go with music or with dancing class, I'm very busy and I don't get a lot of time to really sit down and come up with new tunes. And just last week I composed a new slip jig entitled Mystique, and it's had a huge response online so far, so something that I never really expected. And yeah, let's hope I can still make some new compositions after this. One thing that I really miss about not playing at these events and gigs is that I don't get to meet up with all of my friends, both musical and dancing friends, and it's been really hard. But at the same time, technology allows us to keep in contact with these people as much as we like, whether it be a phone call or text message or Facebook. But yeah, it's really hard not being able to see these people in person. Financially, it has had an impact on my life. This year in particular, I had decided to focus a lot of my time solely on music, and unfortunately I haven't been able to follow through on that as much as I would have liked to. But at the same time, anyone who has cancelled an event or a gig has said that they want to have me back for next year, so that's a good thing. I hope everybody is staying safe and staying inside, and I am really looking forward to getting back to normal and playing for you all again very soon.
My name is Geza Frank. I live in Austria and I play flute, whistles, uilleann pipes and Highland bagpipes, and play with several bands, mainly based in Glasgow. My main band is Fourth Moon, and a few side projects as well, as probably most other musicians in the folk world do as well. And yeah, I travel a lot usually between Glasgow and Vienna in order to rehearse, record and play gigs all over Europe. The current situation, current crisis has affected me in several ways. First one, of course, like all other musicians, pretty much all my gigs have been cancelled for the foreseeable future, and that includes a considerable loss of income. The next concerts that are confirmed are in February 2021, so that means all concerts I have lost for this year. And besides the considerable losses in income, of course, that this includes, there's other dimensions to all that too. It makes you feel, in a sense, a bit useless. It makes you feel very dependent, be it on state aids or to find another job, really, and it always comes with a lot of psychological dimensions to it as well. Psychologically, it's been a roller coaster, I'd say, like for most people, you know. We've been on a very funny, very nice tour with great colleagues from other bands. Shout out to the Outside Track and Gráinne Holland there with her band, with her trio. And we've been having a really great time on tour. It was always this buzz in the radio, in the van while we were driving, about the corona pandemic getting worse and worse, and governments taking more and more measures. And then we realized suddenly one day, oh well, this tour is not going to be getting through to the end. We're going to have to abandon it midterm, and who knows what the world will be like then. So we've been touring in a bubble of joy and mad partying through a world that was about to fundamentally change. I then made a first escape to France with the guitarist of my band, Jean Damey, only to find out that the Austrian Foreign Ministry called everybody back, as soon as possible because borders were about to be closed. So out the window went our intentions of finishing to write a good deal of the new album of the band while in isolation in France. So I went back to Austria, and because I have vulnerable people at my home, I decided to self-isolate in Carinthia, in the Alps, in the chalet of my uncle, where I was alone for about a month now. Completely alone, basically, for that long stretch of time. Is after being surrounded by party and touring and moving and seeing loads of people every day, was an interesting experience. And yeah, it certainly shows you that, well, we're not that long into the thing, and it's looking pretty good at the moment for recovery sooner than expected. But it shows that we feel very vulnerable as musicians that depend on music. Suddenly we depend on the state, we depend on the goodwill of society to support us people that are not system relevant, that are not relevant to keep the system going according to public opinion. So we are mainly a tolerated luxury in real terms. Many people think that we are, in times of Spotify, YouTube, you can get music for free all the time, everywhere, whenever you want, whatever you want. So live musicians, especially folk musicians, niche musicians that don't serve like the mainstream taste or so, we're seen by many people as an accessory luxury, you know. We're not really relevant to anyone, playing our little instruments, singing our little songs, serving really small niche audiences. What are we in times of crisis? For many we're hope, for many we're necessary. We are keeping up traditions, we're keeping up and alive and moving forward traditions, character, identity in many ways. We're keeping bonds between folk traditions. We're not static, just encapsulated in our own folk traditions. Look at me, I'm Austrian, yet I play Irish music. I lived in Ireland, I studied Irish music. I feel culturally more Irish in a way than I do Austrian, funny enough. And we're keeping dialogue between exponents and proponents of traditional crafts, of folk tradition. This is very, very important, in culturally speaking, and it has, I think, yielded and brought forward loads of very, very great collaborations and very great spirit in many parts of the world. And I don't think it's a great idea for society to let that drop, even if it feels like irrelevant, but it's certainly not. And yeah, I hope that we can rise like a phoenix after this is over. I have a slight hope that we might see some more appreciation after this. At the moment it looks like not much is gonna change, but maybe I'm just a bit pessimist on that. We'll see.
Alright, so big thanks to everyone for sharing your thoughts. I especially resonated with what my friend Patrick said there about feeling the pressure to create a lot of stuff. Because whenever I scroll social media now, it seems like everyone is being super productive all the time. But I think it's important that we do things in our own way and in our own tempo. So that's definitely something I'll try to keep in mind now that I get back into making more content again. So yeah, there will be more videos coming in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and also please come say hi over on Instagram. But that's all for today, so take care and stay safe, and I'll see you soon.